We are tracking all of the day's major developments and keeping an eye on this big number. The U.S. COVID-19 daily case average now surpassing 206,000. That number has more than doubled since Thanksgiving and tripled just over the past 2 months.
And Dr. Sutton is here, of course. Dr. Sutton, this is what a lot of people are talking about today. The CDC recommending a less stringent, shorter COVID isolation period for Americans who catch the virus. Is this a good idea? Why are these guidelines changing?
So I have to say that I found out about this yesterday, not from the CDC, but from the onslaught of messages I got on my phone. I think it nearly drained my battery. It's
really
confusing to say the least, I have to say. You know, when I look at these recommendations, I've read them a couple of times, and hopefully I can help break them down. So let's start here. So if you test positive, regardless of your vaccine status, you should be isolating for a minimum of 5 days. At the end of that 5 days, if your symptoms have resolved and you no longer have any cough, fever, runny nose, then you can, it's recommended that you test and then you can go out into the public, but recommended you keep that mask on for a total of 10 days. Now, if you were exposed, what you do depends on how up to date you are on your vaccine status. And so if you've gotten an mRNA vaccine in the last 6 months, or you've gotten a Johnson & Johnson vaccine in the last 2 months, then you do not have to quarantine, but it's recommended that you keep that mask on and again, get tested at day 5. If you were exposed and you're not up to date in your vaccine status, meaning that you haven't gotten an mRNA vaccine for more than 6 months and you haven't gotten a Johnson & Johnson vaccine for more than 2 months, then you should quarantine, isolate yourself from the community. And on day 5, if you don't have any symptoms and you haven't had any during that entire quarantine, then it's recommended that you get tested and then you can go out into the community and wear a mask.
And something is said for each of those, no matter where you fall, wear a mask. That is the takeaway.
Absolutely. And you know, a lot of people will ask the second question, what test to get? And I just want to take that time to basically break that down, because that is another confusing thing. What test do I get and when do I get it? We know that there are 2 main different types of tests, the PCR test and the rapid antigen test. Those PCR tests are really accurate, and what they're looking for is viral genetic material. But it's important to know that that genetic material can persist after the infection is long gone. So therefore, that test can remain positive even after you're done with the infection. And the rapid antigen test is looking for viral particles, basically a sign of viral replication, basically meaning that you're very infectious. So what to do? Let's say that you test positive on a Sunday, and on Friday, you want to know if you can go out into the community and you're trying to figure out your level of risk in terms of how infectious you are. You've already tested positive, and a PCR test would likely not be helpful because it will probably remain positive. So at that moment, I'd recommend a rapid antigen test. Now, let's say, yes.
Gotcha. You're connecting the dots.
I know, it's a lot to keep track of. You're doing a good job. You are.
Thank you. Now, let's say that you get exposed on a Sunday and you're waiting for the 5 days in quarantine and you're trying to figure out if the virus is inside of you. Keep in mind that the incubation period, the time from exposure to the onset of symptoms, can be anywhere from 6 to 7 days. So you might not develop symptoms until day 6 or 7, and you're trying to figure out if the virus is inside of you. At that moment, you should take a PCR test.
Dr. Sutton.
Yes, there is so much information here, and especially with the testing, I still haven't been able to put my finger on when is better for which test, but the way you just broke it down makes a lot of sense. If you've already tested positive, to know if the virus is still in your body, if you're, we appreciate you.
Of course, yes.
We appreciate you.
I know that this is going to probably get played over and over again, but I'm hopeful that it can help everyone out there.
Oh, it definitely does. Thank you for breaking it all down, Dr. Sutton. That was impressive.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.